The summer was interesting. The transfer window is almost over, and while I had a plan going into the offseason about what we were going to do personnel-wise, that fell apart, as most plans usually do. However, I think this time, unlike previous saves, I was a bit more consistent with what I wanted to do, which is I had a plan. I stayed mostly within the plan. It's just the tiny detail. Well, the details changed, but for the most part, the structure of the plan's, well, we'll see. You'll take a look. But in looking back at the timeline, I actually do like this. I think this is kind of cool, and I suspect the further along you get into a save, a little bit more cluttered it's going to be. But as you can see, we are hired as St. Etienne's new coach back in July of 22. They really do like our youth intake. As you can see, 4 of them were highlighted as investing in potential. We set a league record for goals with 76, set a record points haul in a season with 76, got promoted as was expected, crowned the League 2 champs. Cafaro broke the record for most goals in the season with 18. And then we get into the signings, which we will go to right now. For future transfers, I totally bit the bullet, and I'm not quite sure why, but Nathaniel Nwusu, the young Nigerian keeper, who my scouts absolutely hate, but I'm looking at some of these numbers, and I'm thinking, these are not bad, and you can train a lot of these up, like especially his technique. Okay, if I told you you could get a keeper that had 12 kicking, 13 throwing, 11 concentration, 14 reflexes, 14 decision-making, 13 passing, 14 handling, and 13 command of the area right now, and oh yeah, he's only 17 years old, you would jump at that, I would think. The 12 determination, 12 leadership are also nice. 13 jumping reach isn't bad. The natural fitness isn't bad. But like I said, 17 years old. Stuff like technique and off the ball, you can train up. And we've got 6 or 7 years to do that. And actually, probably a little bit longer. Keepers improve over a longer time than any other player. It's just that as they get older, the level of their improvements is not as great. You know, most players are fully developed by the time they're 23. They'll keep developing until they're probably 28-ish. It's just that you have a player who, say, is 160 PA and they start out at 100. From 16 to 20, they'll go to maybe 130. Then from 100, then from 20 to 23, they can go from 130, like 150, maybe 160, that range. But if they top out at 150 from 23 on, they might go to like 151, 152 before they start falling down. There's a couple of videos out there. Who is it? Evidence-Based Football Manager on YouTube has done a lot of work and investigation into this, and the spreadsheets he puts out are really nice too. So, but like I said, I totally jumped on this one. It didn't cost us anything. He's not going to be here till January, and I'm okay with that. So, I mean, plus he's 17 years old. He's already got 4 under 20 caps. If we didn't snap him up, someone else would. Released player-wise, there were quite a few. Barris Owusu, Lucas Caladat, Nabil Noenes, Alexander Chamez, Daniel Ganet, Folo Ngolo, Darek Beatty, Yosef Najoy Ngupot, Popcar Fall, Bustolier, Nazuzi, Gabar. The only name people might recognize is Lucas Caladat because he did get a few starts last season. But he wasn't good enough to stay on the squad. Free transfers on the outs. Cosimo Maiga, Emerson Carrera, and Gabriel Silva all left. Silva is probably the biggest name. He was 32 years old. He was okay. He had a decent amount of starts for us last season. Had a solid season for us. He was 32, and where he was at the end of the season was not where he was at the beginning of the season. Emerson Carrera, he was just a young forward who just, I mean, he's solid but not spectacular. He was a little bit injury prone. We look at his history with us. He was out on save at Slavia Sofia in Bulgaria. They're a decent squad. He got 10 starts, no goals, no assists, and 6.4. And the level of competition in Bulgaria at that level is probably similar to what we're competing at. And the fact that he's doing that there means he's going to be doing the same here. I just can't have that here. Komizo Maiga was just lost in the shuffle last year. He was a midfielder who absolutely did not like important matches, got next to no starts with us. We loaned him out. He did okay. I think Liberec might be his level of football. We'll have to wait and see. Czech Republic has some very good football. But at the end of the day, he's a 1.5-star current, 2.5-star potential player, and that's just not good enough for the squad, especially now that we're in League One. On the ends, Amin Saiz comes in from El Jadida. He is a defensive midfielder, 19 years old, a potential buy more than anything else. As you can see, leadership's not too bad. His strength's a little bit on the low side, but we can train that up. He's got decent quickness. He's got good endurance. He's got okay agility. The 6 balance is a little bit of a bummer. But at the same time, he's a defensive mid, so I'm not expecting spectacular up-the-field actions with him. His ball control's not bad. Crossing could use some work. His movement's not bad. His passing's okay. His set pieces, we didn't sign him for his set pieces. His tackling and aggression are nice. His positioning and decision-making are nice. His flair isn't so high, but then again, defensive midfielder. But he is a potential. I signed him more for potential. You know, he's 1.5-star current, 4-star potential. He's a bit down the depth chart when it comes to defensive mid, but he'll get starts. And he, with enough playing time and the right training, I firmly believe he could be a solid 3.5-star player. Rodrigo comes with us from the Real Madrid B squad, a person who can play the top of the field and a little bit of midfielder. He has been unhappy with training since he got here. 16 determination, the jumping reach and strength are kind of middling, but that's okay. For a 5'10" forward, I'm not too worried about that. Good acceleration and pace, good natural fitness and stamina, nice agility, decent dribbling, first touch and technique, nice crossing and technique for someone who plays a lot of positions equally well. Usually that number's a lot lower in my estimation. Usually that number's a lot lower. It's like 7, 8, or 9. Good anticipation, nice off the ball. His passing skills are nice. His final third skills are okay. His finishing of 14, technique of 13 are nice. Like I said, 5'10", he's not going to be an aerial beast, and he's not, but he can definitely do a job. And he's going to get a decent amount of starts with us. One of the other reasons I bought him is he relishes big matches, so I have no concerns about playing him in any of the advanced midfield or striker positions in a big game. He's a decent League 2 player. They say at 2 stars. They say he can be a leading League 2 player at 3 stars. I think this is a little bit off. I think he's going to be a solid contributor. I didn't sign him to be a full-time player, but he's one of those guys I can stick on the bench, and he can play the advanced mid left, the advanced mid right, or striker position. I can drop him back in a midfield in a pinch if I need to. He is going to be a role player who's going to contribute a lot, I believe, over the next couple seasons. Hikam Boudoui, 23-year-old midfielder who can also play advanced mid on the right and defensive mid. He's already had a good start to the season for us. I really like this guy. We got him on a free. He's an Algerian international. We beat out a couple teams for him. The only place he's really lacking is his strength. His jumping reach is not the best. His heading is okay. He's 5'9", 134 pounds. He's not someone who's going to get into the scrum in the 6-yard box. But he is a very good midfielder. 16 flair, 13 decision making, 13 composure. 12 finishing, 14 technique, 14 first touch, 13 dribbling, 13 crossing, 12 anticipation, 13 decision making, 12 off the ball, 14 vision. His natural fitness is nice. His stamina work rate are nice. His agility and balance are nice. I don't know how we managed to get him on a free. I don't know how long we're going to be able to keep him, but while we keep him, we're going to get the most out of him. Dennis Hadskadunic, who will hereafter be known as Dennis, is a defensive center back, 25 years old, very, very good player. He's a defensive center back you really can't ask for a ton more, I believe. He loves big games. He doesn't have a lot of negatives, and he's solid across the board. I mean, the only place he really kind of falls short is his set pieces, and I'm not too worried about that. He's got good leadership skills. He's got 14 strength. He's got 14 jumping reach, 13 strength. He's got decent acceleration and pace. His natural fitness is okay, but his stamina and work rate are nice. Decent agility and balance. Aerially, 14 heading, 12 bravery, 14 decision-making, 13 marking, 13 positioning. 13 composure. He's a 5 flair for a defensive center back. I'm not all that worried about it. Nice thing is, we did have to overpay to get him. 27,500 euros a week is a bit much, but for a player of his quality, especially for the level of football we're playing at now, that is actually not too bad. And he will do more than a capable job of holding his own. As you can see, already this far into the season, 3 appearances, 2 goals, all off set pieces. And I'm looking forward to him contributing a lot during the season. Loan deals. Try as I might, I could not get any loan players in. I think loans are absolutely borked in this version of FM. I don't understand how or why, but it's like you have an 18-year-old, say, at Man City, they loan out for first-team playing time. And you can tell by looking at him, he's 1.5-star current ability, he's 5-star potential ability, he's a future wonder kid. You know, say he's a striker. He has no place in Manchester City, so they want to loan him out. You go to loan him out, they want 150,000 euros a month if he plays, 350,000 euros if he doesn't play, 100% of his salary whether he plays or not, and oh yeah, an optional future transfer fee of 33.5 million. And it seems like every loan player out there has monthly fees and future fees attached to them, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I came across players who probably on my team wouldn't even be full-time starters, and the clubs they're at want 35,000 a month plus 100% of their salary. My other save, my Santa Clara save on my blog, it's absolutely causing me to pull out what's left in my hair because the team is financially strapped. We don't have a lot of money. And it's Portugal, so you're relying on loan players. And it's just every loan player you go after, a middling loan player, a decent loan player, a not very good loan player, they want 33,000 a month and 45,000 if he doesn't play and 80% of his salary and an optional or mandatory transfer fee. And it's like, are you kidding me? Even when you negotiate down, it's still ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But we had a lot of loans out. Long story short, we had a long loans out. Kevin Pedro, Dylan Shambos, Louis Matong, Lenny Pinchier, Chad Echeverry, Ibrahim Waji, Lashad went out on loan, Buchari went out on loan, Mbemba went out on loan, Jack Blue went out on loan, Edwin Mosquera went out on loan. Some of these names you probably won't recognize because we brought them in and then we turned around and loaned them right back out. Some of these guys are for the future. And this is where all the fun happened. We had a decent transfer budget to start with. It was around 20 million euros. We let go 25.5. We brought in 27. First on the outs, Luis Paulin Pamajobo went to Lorient for 525,000. He was a striker who was absolutely lost in the shuffle, did absolutely nothing for us last year. Jabril Othman was another youth striker. He went to Strasbourg. Ivan Makan was a defensive right back who did okay for us last season. 13 starts, 2 assists, no players in the match, a 7.0 rating. He was kind of lost in the shuffle. And as an older player, I mean, I'm 24, is not exactly older, but he was kind of lost in the shuffle, and the important matches just, that really was a big knock against him. Mikhail Nadi was a defensive center back who was good, but a little bit injury prone, also hated the important matches. If we look at him last year, he had an okay season. I mean, he was a part-time starter. He came off the bench a couple of times. There were better options out there, and I was able to move him for a decent amount of money. Yeah, 1.7 million. Charles Abbey, who was a winger and striker and just was good but not good enough. I would have been happy keeping him, but VFL Bochum came in and made an offer for him, and I looked at who I had and who I was bringing in, and he was interested in going, so I let him go for 3.2 million. My philosophy on a player is that unless I'm invested in them somehow, either from a story point of view or a player point of view, or they're a player I like point of view, like, as an example, right now, Etienne Green would be a player who I would not let leave under any circumstances unless the money was too darn good, and even then it wouldn't be to a League One squad. Players like Charles Abbey and Mikhail Nade and Yvan Makan, yeah, they're okay players. Would they've had a spot on our team? Probably not first team playing time. Would have been bench time. And the squad's too big. And the money I was getting for them is not anything to laugh at. You know, we need every little bit of help we can, especially at this point. Now we're in the big leagues with PSG and Lyon and Marseille and Nice and all the others. So the nice thing is losing them hasn't hurt me as much as losing some other players would have. And I think we've got more than capable replacements for a few of them. Jimmy Girardon was a defensive center back who also played defensive mid and midfielder. I was really kind of ambivalent about letting him go, and then I looked at who I had and where he fit in, especially at 31 years old. Espanyol made an offer for 4.2, and I said, sure. Eamon Ike was a young winger who just, I don't know, nothing stood out about him. You know, he's got potential. When I played him, he did okay in the 4 games I played him in. And he did okay in the non-competitive as well. He came off the bench more than once. But nothing stood out about him. And Brentford made an offer for 1.3. I looked at who I had and what I'd be losing if I let him go. And the answer was not really a lot. So I let him go. And then he did get a work permit. So it must be something to do with the fact he's from France and he has one under 19 cap. Miguel Mucana went to Reims for 425,000. He was a striker who just did not get any playing time at all. He had a solid season for us on the B squad, but he could never crack the starting lineup for us. And if he was not going to crack the starting lineup for us, man, I don't know how he's going to start the starting lineup for Reims. Saidu Sal went to Midtjylland for 3.8 million. They came and made an unsolicited offer for him, and he absolutely jumped at it. And he was really nice for us last season. But it was one of those cases where, you know, I loaned him out in the spring just because he wasn't getting a lot of playing time, and I had better options on the bench. I would have liked to have kept him. He's got some potential, but the Midtjylland offer was too good to pass up. Victor Lovren went to Troyes for 2.9 million. The 28-year-old midfielder, he also had an okay season for us last year. I would have been happy keeping him as a bench player, but he wanted first-team playing time. When I downgraded him from important player to regular starter, he got upset, and then Troyes came in and made an offer for him, so I let him go. Thomas Conduit, my 32-year-old defensive midfielder who had a really solid season for us last year. 31 starts, 8 goals, 6 assists, 3 players of the match, 7.36 rating. I needed to go a little bit younger there. Huesca made an offer for him for $3 million, and he wanted to go, so I let him go. Salif Sane went to Tenerife for $950,000. Again, also one of those situations where an older player who still could have contributed to the squad. I brought him in last season, and he was injured for a decent amount of it, but even then he still had 20 appearances, 3 goals. He was a good defender. I saw his role more as a bench player. He saw his role as a full-time starter, and I won. And then Anthony Briancon went to Genk for $2.3 million. Defensive center back, defensive midfielder guy. Would have been a great bench option. I would have been more than happy to have held on to him. 28 years old. He's still a solid player. Last season for us, 27 appearances, 1 off the bench. He got 3 starts for us here before Genk made an offer for him. And, you know, I'm not that upset I lost him. I would have been happy keeping him, though. So, on the ends, Juan Pablo Goicoechea, hereafter known as Juan Pablo, 600,000 euros from Alianza, a striker. 18 years old, Peruvian, already capped at the under-20 level. The 2 determination, I'm taking a flyer on this. Normally, I do not like low determination players. I'm hoping with the right mentoring group in that, this can pick up. If it gets to like a 5, a 6, or a 7, I'll be happier. The reason I got him was because all of his other skills are better than average, and they can be improved upon. And if he can come off the bench and contribute, or maybe even be a starter from time to time, the 2 determination, I think I can overlook. Well, maybe not. We'll have to wait and find out. 12 jumping reach, 12 strength, 14 acceleration, 14 pace, 11 natural fitness, 12 stamina. The 7 work rate's also a bit on the low side, but again, 18 years old, that'll come up. 12 agility and balance, 13 dribbling and technique, 12 first touch, 13 flair. 10 composure is okay, 10 finishing is okay, 12 aggression. Compared with 8 bravery is a bit of an interesting thing. He's got 12 heading at 6'1", 178 pounds, so he should be decent in the air. Peru, he was a spot starter, 11 appearances, 2 goals, 1 assist. For us, he's getting starts on the B squad, the 2 team, and that's where he'll be at least for the short term. The reason I picked him up is that he's 1.5 star current ability. He's 5-star potential ability. Yeah, he's really kind of down on the depth chart for strikers. But when I compare him to some of the players who have already left, like as an example, Miguel Mucana, he is already better in most of those areas. He's right-footed. One of the things I'm looking at is training him as an advanced midfielder on the left to be an inside forward or inverted winger. I think that could be a good move for him. Also give him a bit of versatility. At the end of the day, if in 4 or 5 years he doesn't turn out, I'm only out about 700,000 euros, and I'm positive I can recoup that in a future sale. Hopalong Mendez from Almeria comes to us for 2.5 million euros. He is a defensive right back who is playing wing back for us. 25 years old. As you can see, he's had a solid start to the season so far. Attributes-wise, a very solid player. As I said, one of the things I'm really trying to avoid the save is what I did wrong in my Palace save last year. And that was also a return to glory save. We wanted to get Palace to the top of the Premier League. And I thought the best way to do that was, hey, a youth movement, and gave myself a 7-year deadline. It's the same 7-year deadline here, except this time we can't rely on just the youth movement. And frankly, our own youth movement from the people we've brought in is going to be better than me going out and hunting down and signing youth players anyways. At a 25-year-old, Mendez is a solid addition to the team. He doesn't have any real weaknesses in his game other than his set piece attributes. And again, you don't really buy a player for set piece attributes unless you're really, really desperate. A wingback with a finishing of 6, I'm not too worried about, especially when he has crossing 12, technique 11. His anticipation is nice. His marking and positioning are nice. His aggression, concentration, and tackling are nice. He's a good passer with good vision. He's got great natural fitness, stamina, and work rate. His acceleration and pace are nice. For what we paid to get him, which was 2.5 million euros from Almira, we have ourselves at least a 4-year starter at the wingback position, and I could not be happier with that. Gonzalo Plato comes to us from Valladolid. Advanced midfielder on the right who can also play striker, and advanced midfielder on the left, 22 years old. He doesn't like big matches, and that's about the only knock I have against him. Yeah, his leadership skills are a little bit middling. His strength is a little bit middling, but again, he's a 5'10" winger, 145 pounds. He's not a set-piece god. Good acceleration and pace is one of the reasons I got him. Natural fitness, stamina, work rate are the others. His 16 dribbling, 14 first touch, 15 technique, paired with his 11 finishing, 14 long shots, 14 crossing, is just, if he didn't not like big games, if he didn't enjoy important matches, teams would probably be falling all over themselves to buy him. He's an Ecuadorian international with 35 caps already. His salary is not outrageous by any stretch of the imagination. He's going to be a solid contributor to the squad. The question is, how long can I play him in important matches when we get to important matches? And if that's the case, if you know, he trips over his own feet in those games or his performance absolutely tanks, then, you know, at the end of the day, we move him on. But for 5.75 million, I got myself a very good winger who is heads and tails better than the guys we let go. Gus Till comes to us from PSV for 6 million. He is our second highest expenditure. I needed a solid presence up top at striker. And as you can see this season, he's already providing that. For the money we had, for the signability we had, Gus Till was one of the few options who took a serious look at us when we took a serious look at him. There's no real weaknesses in his game other than his tackling, maybe his positioning and marking. A 9 flare is not bad, but it's not horrible. And that's a good thing. The bad thing is that he has no real weaknesses in his game. But he does excel in a few areas, I think. His endurance attributes are nice. His movement attributes are nice. His passing attributes are nice. His ball control attributes are nice. He's one of those players who is above average, but he's not elite and he's not world class. But he's pretty close to elite in my estimation. And that's what we need at this point. He's a Dutch national, which lends credibility to the club as well. He's one of the higher paid players, but I had to pay him that in order to get him here, and I was willing to do that. We actually are decent money-wise right now. But he's a solid, very good player for us. I'm expecting good things from him. Thus far, he's delivered. I'm not upset by that at all. Antonio Blanco was available from Real Madrid. I've had this player in other saves. He's a midfielder. He's a very good midfielder. 23 years old. For some reason now, he also doesn't like important matches. I don't remember this in the past. He's got good leadership skills. His strength is nice. His quickness is nice. His endurance is nice. Everything about him is nice, really. There's no real weaknesses in his game. His movement skills are very good. His ball control skills are not bad. The 9 dribbling is about the only weakness. His final third skills are very good. 13 composure, 14 decision-making. A 9 flare from a midfielder, I'm not worried about that at all. It's frankly this important matches thing that's kind of about the only ding against him. And as with Plata, I'm not all that concerned about that. I think we have more than enough depth to hide that. And in case he doesn't really like him, you know, we can stick him on the bench or he doesn't play at all. But for a player of this caliber, for the money we paid for him, for the money we're paying him, he's a very good value. And plus, he improves the squad. Toma Basic comes to us from Lazio. I believe that's Basic. I'm Toma going forward. Comes to us from Lazio, another midfielder. He would probably be the one who would start instead of Blanco. Again, another one of those guys who doesn't have any real weaknesses in his game. He's really good at set pieces. The 17 free kicks is nice. 16 teamwork, 14 determination. His strength skills are nice. His quickness skills are pretty good. His endurance skills are above average. 14s across the board in fitness, stamina, and work rate. His ball control skills are nice. He is another one of those very good to elite quality players. He's 4-star current ability, 4-star potential ability. He's probably not going to get any better than he is now, and that is not a bad thing. And again, he is also 26 years old. And so we know what he can contribute and when he can contribute it. And if anything, the fact that he enjoys important matches is going to offset Blanco. And last but certainly not least, Mihailo Ristic comes to us from Benfica for 3.4 million, going to 3.7. A wingback on the left. I had my eye on him early. I was getting ready to go into negotiations with him, and there was a takeover attempt at the club. So we had a 10-day window where we couldn't make any transfer moves. That window went away. I signed him to a contract, or I signed him to an offer. And it wasn't a huge offer. It was the offer we see now. He accepted it. I didn't have enough money for the transfer. The other players I'd bought had taken my balance down to the point where I couldn't afford them anymore, and I was waiting for other couple of players who had already agreed to go to other teams to go to those teams so I could get the money in for them. For 2 weeks, I delayed, and then I didn't get another notice. And it was, okay, I went, and he didn't want to talk to me. The day before the window closed, he still hadn't been picked up. He still was available for transfer. I said, hey, let me pay you this, because I knew how much money I had. I went to his team. I said, let me pay you this. They said, yes. He still wanted to come here. And the interesting thing was the original contract he had agreed to was an important player contract where he was getting like 38,500 euros a week. Now he's here as a squad player, 20,000 euros a week. And for a guy who is 3.5-star current ability, 3.5-star potential ability, I am not upset by that in the least. He is a very, very good player. The 16 crossing, 14 technique stood out to me. I mean, he's the wingback who's going to get up the field and just cross it in the box where hopefully Gus Till and a couple others are going to be waiting to try and head it in. His composure, decision-making, and flair are nice. His ball control skills are nice. His agility skills are above average. His endurance is above average. His quickness is above average. His strength, it's average. 10 jumping reach, 10 strength, 9 heading. Okay, so he's not an aerial threat. But he's got 18 caps for the Serbian squad. His set-piece taking is okay. His leadership skills are nice. His tackling skills are quite good. 14 aggression, 13 concentration, 12 tackling. For what I got him for what I'm paying him, he's a definite upgrade to the squad. And he's going to be here at least 3 or 4 more years. And by that time, I should have youngsters I'm developing from within able to step up and replace him. And so for 27 million in and 25.5 out, both records, by the way, apparently, that was our transfer window. I totally forgot about this. So moves you make at the end of the previous season before the new season officially starts go on last season's transfer window. Ezequiel Belod comes to us from Feyenoord for 6 million, and he is an advanced midfielder on the left who can also play a little bit of striker, advanced midfield on the right, and midfield. He is 22 years old. He's 3.5-star current, 4-star potential. And he is a solid player who is very, very good. Almost elite levels in some areas. His ball control skills, his final third skills are really nice. His movement skills are nice. His natural fitness, stamina, work rate are above average. Acceleration and pace are above average. His angst strength and his defensive skills are what really kind of hold him back. But as a winger, an inside forward, I'm not all that worried about it. He's an important player here at 8,500 a year. I can't complain about that. He's got the potential to be an Argentinian national, especially if he does really well here for us, which he is. He's my starting winger. He's had a good season thus far. Paying 6 million euros for him was well worth the money spent. The preseason was nice. I did my usual typical thing. I handled the preseason training. The coaches handled the preseason games. You clear your roster. They handle all the rotation and stuff like that. Ensure everybody gets rotated in and out so they all get playing time. We got the season off to a decent start so far. We drew with Lille. A Belod goal in the 35th minute was offset by a Dembele penalty in the 49th minute. Against Le Havre, we absolutely thumped them. Gus Till had a hat trick. Goals in the first 27th, 36 minutes. Badoui Hickam had a goal in the 21st minute. Dennis had a goal in the 77th minute. And then against Lille, a Dennis goal off a set piece in the 3rd minute. They equalized 4 minutes later from a Luka Waldschmidt goal. The transfer window closed. We have Montpellier, who we're going to play today, and we're going to call this an episode. And then we're going to need to figure out what we're going to come back for. Probably something Lille Rennes or Nice Monaco, probably. And then, we'll figure it out as we go along. But anyhow, we've got Montpellier coming up, so we'll get to that match here in just a bit. Well, just a minor issue today in our game against Montpellier. Houbelang Mendez, our primary defensive wingback on the right, is out. He's suspended. His backup, well, they're actually sharing the position this year. Sergei Palencia is injured for another, 2 to 3 weeks? Yeah, 2 to 3 weeks. So, Nayu, who has never played defensive wingback in his life, but he's a very good midfielder on the right. He's okay. I mean, the only thing that really kind of counts against him at the moment is his marking skills. He's my best available option there, even though his tactical familiarity with that role is next to nothing. So we're going to have Green and goal, Twanzebe and Dennis as the defensive backs, Ristic and Nayu as the wingbacks, Basic as the defensive mid behind Hickam and Blanco, Ezekiel and Plata as the attacking mids, and Gus Till up top as the striker. Ivan on the throw-in. Gets it to Till. He gets it to Plata. Plata. Oh, ambitious shot, but he misses it wide right. I'll be looking more at the recording screen here than anything else for this. Half hour in, a lot of shots, not a lot on target for us. That needs to change. 2 half chances, though. Till steals the ball. Badawai. Bellard. Basic. Blanco. Dennis. Blanco. Gets the ball to Plata. Back to Dennis. Basic. Out to Ivan. Blanco. He feeds Plata. Plata. Blanco gets it in. Till is there and he scores. That was really nice. And that is halftime. So a Gus Till goal on the 37th minute puts us ahead. Good home crowd. Hopefully we're not going to have any more fans banned from the stadium this season. Dennis. Axel. Back to Basic. Hickam. Back to Axel. Out to Mahalau. He feeds Balad. He centers it. Till. And he struck it just wide left. And it's raining. And it's jumping a little again there. I really don't think the sound has anything to do with it. If it did, I'd be really kind of surprised. We're going to take Ristic off and bring on Alvarez. Yvonne's done okay, all things considered, so we're going to leave him on. We're going to get Basic off and bring on Memisevic. Get the guys with the yellow cards off, just so I'm not tempting fate there. Only 2 shots off 11 on target. We have an XG of 1.58, so... Ivanier sends it in. Arahau. Raja? Arahau? He knocks it over the net. Plata centers it to Till. Till beats Plata. Plata. Oh, gets the ball. Balad has it. Oh, so a nice save. And now it's jumping again. Alvarez. Balad over to Plata. Plata feeds Till until scores a very nice late goal. It's just... It shouldn't be the sound causing an issue. Well, yet another technical thing to look at. I'll have to get tech support over here and have him help me take a look. But a very nice 2-0 victory against a very good Montpellier squad. So league-wise, we're currently in 4th place. We've won 2, we've drawn 2, plus 6 goal differential and 8 points. I'm not expecting this to last. I totally think we're going to be fighting for mid-table, and I'm totally okay with that too. So, video issues on my end. I think what we're going to do is come back for probably Nice and Monaco. And then we'll come back for a Cup 9th round match and the Auxerre match after that. And then it's going to be the January transfer window. We should have a Cup game in there. We could come back for it. Depends on who it is. Hopefully I won't do what I did last year and outthink myself into thinking Lille's going to beat us. or Leon rather, is going to beat us, and then we thump them, and then, oh, hey, we're playing a lower league squad, no, nothing's wrong there, and they thump us. So, all in all, I think a very successful transfer window. We spent a little bit of money, we earned a little bit of money. At the end of the day, we've got 6, 7 new starters on the field. I think who we have is an improvement over the players we lost. Maybe not a big improvement, but first steps along the way to improving up. We're not going to finish top 4 anytime soon. We definitely need to improve the squad, but we don't have the money or the ability to buy those players right now. We need to earn our way there, and what we're doing right now is a good way to do that. So, a pretty successful transfer window. Like I said, we're $1 million in the plus. We let go of a lot of dead weight. We made a decent amount of money. We broke the spending fee, which I find interesting. I could have sworn they sold a few players for $30 million in the past, but I could be wrong there. And while I regret letting some of these people go, maybe Sal. He was really good for us, but Michelin made a really good offer for him, and he really wanted to go. So why stand in his way? But at the end of the day, players like Gus Till, Gonzalo Plata, Antonio Blanco, they're really going to help the team get to where they need to go. So with that said, if you did like what you've seen and heard, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more content, questions, criticisms, comments, leave those down below. I will answer those as fast as I can. My name is FM Jellico. I thank you for watching.